vice chair.
We also have some precinct chairs that don't realize that they're elected too. So if our precinct chairs would stand up and announce, people need to know who you are. So if you'll stand up and introduce yourself, please.
Ann Pierce, Precinct Chair 104.
Thank you.
Then go away, precinct 206.
Kirby?
Kirby Light, precinct 101.
So are there any, I don't see any this, oh,
And I'm Kyle Matthews, County Commissioner, Precinct 1.
sorry.
No, it's fine. They already saw me.
Okay, and if there, I know we have one who is here representing, not only is she a member of our club, but she also represents her, her boss, Shelby Slauson. So would you introduce yourself? This is Celia Sellers.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Celia Sellers, and I am the district manager for House District 59, Representative Shelby Slauson. So if y'all need anything, please get with us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I have a lot of people here visiting today. We thank you for coming, and if you have any questions, get with us. We'll love to have you join us. Men or women, or children, young adults. Well, we won't call them young affiliates. So we're looking for those too. I sent out the minutes. They're on our website. So I'm going to ask if there are any corrections to the minutes that are posted on our website. There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved. I'm going to ask our treasurer to give Teresa Mitchell. Those of you who are giving reports, if you come up here so we can get this done as quickly as possible, that would be great.
As of the 28th of January, we have $1,687.85, and we have come in $281.34, going out $187.50, and presently we have $1,084.69.
Okay, thank you. All right. I wanted to say last month's meeting, do you want to do it? Last month's meeting was incredible. We had our first meeting in Gatesville, and we had to bring in chairs. We brought in 3 new primary members, 1 renewal, 5 new associates, and 1 renewal in that one little meeting. So we are really excited. If you have not renewed, if you came into the organization in September or after, you are a 2024 member. If you came in March or after, up to August, then you would need to renew, and then we'll be on the TFRW cycle. The TFRW year is November to October. So we started our organization, we'll be a year old next month. So we started in March. Yes, I'm so excited. We started in March. So for those of you who came in March to August, we do need you to renew. Our numbers are important to TFRW because it matters when we want things done. Our membership numbers count. So we would love for you, if you haven't renewed, please get your membership into us. March 1st is a cutoff. There are things that are going to be happening, and we really need those numbers to look good because it'll help us with our numbers to get reimbursed and things like that. So let me see, Donna, I think you're fundraising.
Good morning. We are currently doing an Eclipse glasses sale. They're up front, or at the back. If you look, Stephanie's back there. She has some glasses. They're $3 a pair, and they go to help us support the club. This is our only fundraiser at the moment, so if you would really ask if you can get your glasses, and they're $3 a pair.
Yes, the glasses and the flags are what we're doing in conjunction with the Rotary Club. They've agreed to give us the $3 that we get for these glasses, and because we're new, we have not had fundraisers, so it's only through membership. $25 of our $36 goes to TFRW. So we really appreciate when we have associate members because we get to keep that $20. So just know that. So the flags get put in your yard 4 times a year for the, Memorial Day, 4th of July, 5 of them. Veterans Day and all, okay, so y'all know when those holidays are. But anyway, they'll come and put the flags out and come and pick them up, and that's $50 a year. So we hope that you will consider doing that. If you're already doing it like we've been doing it, once the year calendars for July 27th. We will be doing a great fundraiser. We're working on an amazing speaker, but I'm not going to say yet because he's not going to let us know for sure for a while. But I'm hopeful that we will have him. It will be a dance. This is our summer social. So we will have a dance. It'll be more fun than our normal meeting. So please mark your calendar and join us for that event. It's going to be at the Texas Station Event Center in Gatesville. Lovely venue if you've never been there. So let me just get that said, and then we've got Christina is going to do. Christina joined us in December. She's going to be our new campaign activities chair, and we are in an election year, and we've got to do to get the vote out. So Christina's going to talk to us about that.
Hello, I just wanted to briefly talk to you about a day of action with TFRW. I have a QR code here with me, and I'll keep it in the back so everyone can scan it real quickly as you're up getting drinks or on your way out. Sign up, register, and we're doing a calling of, it looks like new Republicans to the area. We have a lot of them. So this is very important, especially since this is an election year. So please, stop by, see me, sign up, and if you need help, I will help you. If your phone doesn't quite work, you can always use mine.
Okay, so if you don't like to make phone calls, don't have to. We can do some texting. So they're doing texting, phone calls. Your phone number will not be used, so you don't have to worry about that. Most people don't answer their phone. Nice. So really what we're doing is saying, hi, I'm Gaylac, and I just wanted to remind you that early voting starting on February 20th, this next Tuesday. Be sure that you know where to go vote. Early voting is at the, I don't know what you call it. You all know where it is and I know where it is, but I don't know how to say it. So anyway, that's where it is for early voting. Please get out. We need your vote. We do. Coryell County's a red state, a red county. But you know what? If we don't get out and vote, what difference does it make? We know the Democrats are going to vote. We need you to get out. And so we're going to be doing things like that. And you're going to leave a voicemail, I would imagine, 99% of the time. But we still get our message out. So if you're interested in doing that, please check with Christina. Christina, do you have something you can send around and get names on it so they can sign up if they want to? That would be, I think, a great way to get it done. And that way, if this is over, you've already got that part of it done. Are there any announcements from anybody about their events coming up? No one? Okay. I do want to say that once we are very fortunate to be the first ones to have these candidates for sheriff speak to you. You are the first ones to really get to hear them together. And after this event is over, you may say, I wish please know who you're voting for. If you don't know, if you get to a place and those people on that ballot you don't know, skip it. Let the people who are informed cast the vote for those people, because you never ever know when you might be electing someone like we got in office now that it's just because you don't, and you just went to the meeting. So please know who you're voting for or don't vote. So after today, there will be, the GOP, our county GOP is putting on a debate. That'll be, Monday night at 6 o'clock at the library, correct? And then, on Thursday night in Gatesville, they're going to have another, debate, and that is at City Hall. So if you have folks in Gatesville, I know we've got some Gatesville people here, and I know a lot of people can't make it over. So let them know, because we need to get people out to hear these candidates. It's important.
I'm sorry, what time on Thursday?
6. Now the Coryell County Republican Party Lincoln Dinner is next Saturday night, the 24th. If you want to go, and I encourage you to, it's a fundraiser. We need funds. We need to help candidates. We need to push our information. So it's important that people go to these events to help raise money for our party. So it is the 24th. We would like to have a count as close as possible by Monday. The caterer is asking for a count. So if you plan to go and you have not bought your tickets yet, please go in and do that as soon as you can, and preferably before Monday. Of course, anyone who wants to come and they come on Saturday, that's okay, but we just want to be sure there is enough food and that we don't buy too much food. The food is very expensive, and so we want to be as close as we can. So that's that. And then next month, we're going to have the president, Eric Bruntmeyer, from Hardin-Simmons University, come and speak to us about Gen Z. This is a complicated young group of people, and they're different from most voters. They have a different mindset, they want truth, and we don't really understand them, but we need them to vote, and we need to help them to learn what the Republican Party is about, so that they can see the truth and they can see what they need to do. So he's going to come talk to us about who they are, how they think, and how they vote. So I encourage you to come to that. He's coming from Abilene. I'd love to have a full room for him because I really appreciate him reaching out to us. And it says a lot about Coryell County Republican women. They reached out to us. And I don't want to, I wanted to see who we are. So if you can make it on March 30th, our normal meeting would have been the week before, but the county and Senate district conventions are on the 23rd, so we're moving our meeting to the 30th. So make sure you remember we're not doing it on a normal day. It will be the 30th at 9:30. So now, I think we're ready to get started to hear from our candidates. So I'm going to call on Joel to come on out. Joel Joseph. Joseph, where's my phone? Joel? I can't find my intro for you. Would you come and tell a little bit about yourself, since I can't find it on my phone always?
Hi, my name is Joelle Joseph, and I will be your moderator. I got involved in, I guess, politics when I lived in Leander. I was one of the founding members for Leander Area Republican Women. I recently moved to Hamilton County from Leander about 1.5 years ago, and I got involved with the Hamilton County Republicans group, and I am running for Hamilton GOP County Chair. Let's see. You want me to go ahead and start? Okay. Thank you. All right. Good morning and welcome to the 2024 Coryell County Sheriff Candidate Forum. My name is Joelle Joseph and I will be your moderator for the event today. I ask that you please silence your cell phones at this time. We are honored to have 3 candidates here with us this morning: incumbent Sheriff Scott Williams, candidate J.C. Buster, and candidate Danni Suniga. I'm going to go ahead and go over the rules. The rules of the debate are as follows. The debate will be moderated by myself with the assistance of timekeeper Celia Sellers. Candidates have agreed to follow all directions of the moderator and timekeeper at all times. While vigorous and passionate discussion is encouraged, the candidates have agreed to conduct themselves in a professional and respectful manner, and that is our expectation. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to provide an opening statement. At the conclusion of opening statements, I will begin to ask a series of questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Questions will be answered in a rotation by the candidates. At the conclusion of the question-answer phase, candidates will be provided 3 minutes for a closing statement. At the conclusion of the closing statements, the forum will end. However, it is at this time candidates are welcome to remain in the venue to meet and greet attendees until the venue area is cleared. Rules are subject to change at any time and for any reason at the discretion of the moderator, timekeeper, and CCRW president decision. Audience members are expected to remain respectful and quiet through the forum. Any disruptive actions, to include yelling out, booing, heckling, chanting, taunting, holding signs, negative hand gestures, etc., will not be tolerated and will result in being asked to leave the venue immediately. Now give a round of applause to our Coryell County Sheriff race candidates, Scott Williams, John Buster, and Danni Suniga. Let's see, okay. So the order that we're going to do the opening statements are Williams, Buster, Suniga. You have up to 3 minutes for your opening statement.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy that y'all came out this morning. I know you've had a little cold weather, but I promise you, you're going to enjoy yourself, and I'm very excited that the room is full. Before I go any further, can we get a round of applause for the Coryell Republican women? They have really launched themselves into the spotlight as far as I'm concerned. They started very small and got here in a hurry. So anyway, my name is Scott Williams. I'm the incumbent. I am the sheriff of Coryell County. I am completing my 2nd term right now. I was elected in 2016, where I took office in 2017. I made very few promises. I'm not the person that's going to stand up here and make all kinds of hollow promises, but the promises I did make, I have kept. I have, how do I put that? I made 3 promises that one was to be transparent. And I will tell you, my transparency has no limits. It is, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, folks are going to know. The quote-unquote good old boy system, it doesn't play in my agency. I've watched it on social media. It's very ugly. But anyway, just to tell you a little something about the Coryell County Sheriff's Office, we have modernized it, and when I say we, I mean I and my team. You'll very seldom hear me say I. But we have modernized it to the level that it is right now. We have a narcotics unit, which very happy that we did. We also have a 3 canine division where they are full patrol animals. We also have stood up our SWAT team. We've had a SWAT team since I've taken office, and those are things that we never had before. But I will tell you, using the word I now, I have brought to this office a level of responsibility and respect that it deserves. You know, we do the right thing no matter what. you know, it's been very painful. I've had to make arrests with tears streaming down my face, but you know what? The people of Coryell County hired me to do this job, and I will do it to the fullest. And, I appreciate everybody coming out this morning, and, I don't wanna use my whole box of firecrackers on an opening statement, but, I will tell you, I'm very thankful that you're here. I will tell you that you're not gonna see me get down in the weeds, because that's where the snakes are. And, I don't believe in it. I believe in just speaking fact, not opinion. So without further ado, I'm gonna yield the rest of my time to my opponents here. That way they can have plenty of time to say.
Please forgive me, I put a couple of points down. There's so much to say, and I want to stay on track. So my name is J.C. Buster. I am one of the candidates running for Coryell County Sheriff. Gay and Cecilia, thank you for keeping me on task. And I apologize for the, hey, can you get this to me? I got it to you, I'm sorry. So, and I want to thank y'all for inviting me last month and this month to y'all's events. But I want to say good morning to everybody, and gotta be frank, right? I've told everybody that I want to see change, and it's not personal. I don't want to be personal. It's not personal if I want to see change. I believe we have a lack of leadership. We have a lack of transparency, and just like the incumbent said, I'm going to speak with fact, not opinion. There's a huge difference between being a boss and being a supervisor. Right? A supervisor knows his people. A supervisor cares about his people. He creates a culture, an environment where people can thrive at work. He doesn't cause chaos and mass exodus. That's a fact. If you want, I can give you all the numbers you need, but it's an open and records request that you can get on your own, and it's factual. It's not an opinion. My experience, I've been at Gatesville, I've been at Coryell County, and I started and maintained a police department in the school district community of Jonesboro, where there was a lack of law enforcement. And it's not just Coryell, it's Hamilton. But there was a need, so I left and went. My family and I prayed on this, and that's what we made to do. Well, this was the same reason why we're running for sheriff now. There's a need for change. Education is the top priority for me. I've been to Bill Blackwood's Law Enforcement Academy, and I believe every supervisor from sergeant up who can get in there, most of the time they only take lieutenants and up, can get in there, but it's free. It doesn't cost the taxpayer, the local taxpayer, a thing. The state of Texas has given that to us, and why aren't we using it? And I'm running out of time, so I'll keep this short. I want to get back to community policing, where we have people out and about in Event, Oglesby, Jonesboro, Copper's Cove, where we're eating dinner and sitting around and talking and asking questions. How much time we got left? We got, thank you. Sorry, I still got a whole 3 or 4 more points. I went a little quicker than I thought.
Good morning, everyone. Everybody in the back, hear me okay?
No.
Coming in to want to get into the tournament, they do have a pretty hard time getting these things done. And that is frustrating. It's not everything that was done at the sheriff's office is bad. There was good there. There's still a lot of good guys and ladies that work there. So that means that, you know, we got it out pretty long for that. E-Bank, I believe, is our furthest response for county. E-Bank, I believe, is our furthest response for county. And I do not believe that they are staffed at this time with a full resource officer or a department that does help utilize it.
All right, so we'll begin our questions at this time in the order of William, Buster, and Suniga. Question number 1, please tell us about your background.
My background, shortly out of high school, I went to work for the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where I worked for several years from the capacity of minimum custody all the way to maximum security. Once I left there and came home, I believe it was about 1996, I went to work in a private facility where I achieved the rank of lieutenant. And anyway, that particular facility kind of dissolved on itself, and I started government contracting. During my time with government contracting, I traveled all over the world, every state in the union, doing logistical work. I worked my way all the way up to supervisor, where when I was in Iraq, I was the highest ranking individual in my field. Managed hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets and upwards of 80 employees that were scattered throughout the United States and the world. When I came home from Iraq, I went back to work in the penitentiary where I worked. I was a supervisor on death row. I worked there for some time and then went into business for myself and decided that right then and there I was going to follow my dream, and I put myself into the realm of law enforcement, where I went to work for Johnny Burke's sheriff's office, and Johnny saw a light in me and decided to send and pay my way to become a deputy. I went all the way from jail staff, from a brand new jailer, all the way to the sheriff. And I did that on hard work. I did that on research, knowing my business. Anyway, she hit me with this hard stop.
So I graduated in 2001. Can you hear me? Yes. All right, sorry about that. I graduated from Jonesboro High School in 2001. I immediately joined the military. Well, a lot of people talk about an itch to serve. I joined before I graduated and I went to boot camp within about 30 days of graduation. And I spent 4 years doing my tour during Operation Iraqi Freedom and Endurance Freedom. I came home and I joined the police academy that January 06, maybe December 05, January 06. So about 17 years, 17, somewhere in there, 18 years, I've been law enforcement. During that tenure, I went to work for Johnny, and he didn't put me through the academy. I put myself through the academy. I wanted to help serve, and I tried to do it the best I could. I worked for Johnny for just over a year, maybe a year and 1 day, between being a patrol deputy and a bailiff, and whatever he needed at the time. Then I went over and worked for Nathan Goki at the City of Gatesville, which started off fantastic. He took me under his wing, him and Don, and pushed me, put me in the school as a dare officer. So I worked with all the kids, and I learned how to get a bunch of herding cats, if that makes any sense to you. I herded cats for a few years, and I told Nathan, I was like, I'm ready for a change. I need to do something different. So he promoted me to sergeant. And I ran that, and I ran the Drunk Busters program, the DARE program, and Sergeant for about 6 months, all at the same time, managing that. Then I was asked to come out and start a department in Jonesboro. That gives you a quick summary of my police career, but I did retire at 22 years in the Navy. So you,
So I touched base a little bit on my experience and background in law enforcement. Going back a little bit further, I'm low man on the totem pole here with experience. I graduated Hamilton High School in 2006 and got married, moved to Gatesville, and we've been there since. Starting back 2014, made my way to the sheriff's office, and again, going over that was dispatch. Done patrol, bailiffing, and for those of you that are current deputies, if y'all have never had the opportunity to bailiff, you learn a lot sitting there in the courtrooms. And I encourage those who have the opportunity to go do that. You learn a lot from the way the attorneys work on those cases to what the judge is looking for in those cases. It just helps you build a better case when you're out on patrol. Civil process, that's a whole different ballgame. Kudos to the beverage and the constables who take care of that. There's a lot and a different dynamic that goes into that. And then transport, picking up inmates across Texas, it's a lot of work. You get a lot of drive time. It can be tiring, but it's worth it. So that's kind of my experience on it. I don't have near as much as the incumbent, my opposing candidate, JC, but I do have the drive to learn it. I do have the want to do it, and I do have the need to serve the community.
Thank you. All right, question number 2. What are 3 words you would use to describe your character?
honest, open, and loyal.
Three words, also honest. Sometimes I can be a little blunt. And then transparent. Ask me anything you want, you're gonna get the truth on that. You may not like it, it may hurt some feelings, but it's gonna be the truth. And then the last one, you have good integrity. And those are all three good traits that a leader needs to have.
The 3 words, my first one would be heart. If you don't have heart, you're not gonna be honest, you're not gonna have integrity, you're not gonna be morally pointed in the right direction, so you gotta have a strong heart. Second thing I would probably say is tough. I like to think I'm a pretty tough guy, got tough skin. I got the ability to take as much as I can give. So, and probably the third thing is I'm loving. You know, I love my staff, I love my family, I love my beautiful wife and my children and my grandchildren. So that's probably my 3 words. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, question number 3. Why do you want to be Coryell County Sheriff?
Why do I want to be Coryell County Sheriff? I want to touch base on it for change. I've got a very good rapport with the community for Coryell County. I've got a very good rapport with the court systems, with the commissioners. I'm easy to work with and can work alongside those to make sure the job is done. And I've also got the ability to know whenever I'm not right, to back up and like, hey, I made a mistake. This is what we need to do instead.
The reason I'm running for sheriff again is we're not done. We still have so much to do. There's so much drugs in the street, human trafficking, crime in general, mental health issues, all this stuff that we need to address. You know, I keep hearing change. Well, you know, didn't Obama beg for change too? I believe he did. And nobody's given any substance of what they're gonna change. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I can tell you exactly what works and what doesn't work, because this is my second term that I'm completing, trying to enter into my third term, and I feel very confident that we will. But to tell you why I wanna run for sheriff, we're not done. We just got too much to do, you know? As far as working with other elected officials, I have a flawless working relationship with the county attorney, with the district attorney. And you know what? I do butt heads with the commissioner's court. I imagine Commissioner Matthews can tell you that firsthand. I'm vigorous when it comes to negotiation. I am vigorous when it comes to standing up for my people, because, you know, I want everything I can give to my people. So I'm gonna fight vigorously for them. Sometimes it gets a little heated, but I will tell you right now that there's not a single elected official or department within our county government that will not call me on the phone, will not come to my office and sit down and have a conversation. You know, we're all very passionate in what we do because we're elected officials, we're not politicians. So with that, I'm gonna stop and yield the rest of my time.
Can everybody hear me? We'll talk about transparency. I didn't want to run for sheriff. I prayed on it. I prayed that we'd get somebody in here who would change something. And Scott has made some changes, some good, some bad. But 8%, if you pull the DPS numbers on case closures, 8%, the average county is way above that. Way above that. So there was change. Transparency. I didn't want to do this. I am happy where I was at. We prayed and prayed and prayed for someone to step in, and then I decided to step in after praying on it. We have to get back in our communities, and we do have a drug problem, and we do have other problems. But the statistics are not showing what's being spoken. Those are not opinions, those are facts. It's not personal, it's facts, guys. And if that cost me votes for telling me I didn't want to run, then I'm okay with that. But that is being transparent. I did not want to do that. I think I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try to improve my community, improve my county, and keep serving where I'm at.
All right, question number 4. Why do you think of the 3 of you, you are the best candidate for the job?
It's not about think, it's about know. I know I'm the best candidate for this job. Number one, I've got the most experience doing this job. You know, I'm not gonna stand up here and blow a bunch of hollow promises at you and tell you what y'all would do and keep saying the word change. There's nothing with the word change. It's easy for me to say that word, but if I don't have anything to put with it. I will tell you, I'm the best candidate because I'm the guy that has came and worked with all of my staff and the community and the other agencies within our county government and city government to combat these drug problems, combat these human trafficking problems. Being put on task forces, with a lot larger agencies where we can have the benefit of having their analysts and what have you. I mean, we did this. This is something that's never been done. Talking about the narcotics, I'm gonna tell you why I should be the sheriff. In the last 2 years, we have put 300 felony arrests up in our jail with just a 2-man narcotics team that works 4 days a week. That's not counting the on-view arrests that my deputies are doing. That's not counting all the training that I'm giving my folks so that they can be smarter in their interdiction stops. Be smarter when they come into a call for service, whether it be violent or whether it be benign. I am the sheriff of the county right now, and I will tell you, if you asking me, I'm gonna tell you I'm the sheriff coming up. I deserve it, and the reason I say I deserve it is because I'm the guy that's standing and leading my people from the front. I am going to do it day in and day out.
What's the question again?
Why do you think of the three of you, you're the best candidate for the job?
Fair enough, fair enough. Sheriff Williams has some good points, right? He's shown what he can do. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. He has shown what he can do. And there is unleft business, and I want to address that unleft business. All right? The fact that we're not leading from the, we're trying to lead from the front and be a part and make it about me. Our task force, I've been reached out by other task force agents, officers in the area going, we don't come to Coryell County. Now, I don't believe that. I don't believe that fully. But why are they calling and saying that? And we're like, we don't trust. There's not transparency, we don't trust. I've been open with them. Matter of fact, when I was a Gatesville Patrol Sergeant, I told them when they called me, when they came into Gatesville, call me when you leave. I don't have to take credit for your arrest. I don't need to be present unless you want me there. All right, a sheriff shouldn't be kicking in doors. That's not his job. That's the guys underneath him. That's the chain of command that falls. He should be leading his people and taking care of his people, working with other people, and not kicking in doors himself. To me, you're trying to do too much. Everybody has a place. No one is better than the next person, but everybody has a place in the system, and the sheriff's at the top of that. And that's where he should stay, not be kicking in doors. Thank you.
So, I'm gonna back up a little bit. The good old boy system is alive still in Gatesville, and it's still alive in the Coryell County Sheriff's Office. Some of those issues have dissolved themselves with those who are retiring. And what I'm talking about, and it may ruffle feathers, is when you have double standards for your workers, and it's not, I call it selective, but when you allow one employee to work while they're under indictment for a case, but you have other officers who are arrested and immediately terminated, they end up with the same result. Cases are dismissed, they're found not guilty, the other officers are not rehired. That's the change that we're talking about. Put in the face of that change. Also, when you hire your friends to take certain positions, and they're caught up in something, instead of terminating them like you would somebody else, you give them a different position in the department. They're still left there, still causing these issues. Those are the changes that need to be done. When you use mental health positions as a punishment for officers who are on patrol, and you move them over, same thing with the courthouse bailiff positions, those are the changes that need to be made. Like, we cannot afford to be using these positions to fill with officers who shouldn't be there. So going forward, you know, that's the reason why I feel like I'd be the best candidate for this, is we're not gonna be playing the good boy system. We're not a yes man, we're not a yes woman. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Thank you. Number 5, in your view, what are the top public safety issues in our country, and how would you address them?
Obviously, the border. We have a lot of narcotics and stuff coming across. There's a proper way to get here, we should be using that. Mental health, Danny just touched on it. Man, we have so many resources right here that we're not using. Not every mental health subject has to go to jail or to the hospital. There's 50 steps in between or arresting somebody or putting them in a hospital before you make that choice. That is one of the major things. I believe standing up against some of the unconstitutional laws that are coming at us. Our governor right now is fighting with the president over something that we should be already handled and done with. So my top deal is our border, my second deal is mental health, and then drugs. But that goes hand in hand with mental health. If any law enforcement officer in here or anybody has any background in medical will tell you that drugs and mental health can go almost right hand in hand, because they self-medicate. Or they started out and used drugs and now it's destroyed them. So mental health is a major issue that we have, and literally we're doing less and less about it as society. We need to pick that up. Thank you.
Top issue, and it is the most current one. We have seen it in Coryell County, is immigration. There was, when I was on patrol, there was a vehicle that was stopped by I believe it was night shift, and a group of people got out and bailed on them. They were ultimately found the next day with citizens and people keeping an eye out for it. But it was people down here illegally. So it has trickled down into our communities here. It's not just at the borders. Of course, mental health, that is one that's not going away. JC touched on it. A lot of it goes hand in hand with the drug use. We've dealt with several people in Gatesville who they are the way they are because of their drug use history. And you can't really fix that. And you can't help them until they're ready to be helped. It's a constant battle. Our mental health officers have given emergency order of detention to several. They get them to the hospital. They know what to say to the hospital to get released after that time frame. And again, that's leading on, you cannot help them until they are ready. The self-medicating, we have a veteran that was in Gatesville and his go-to was meth. He had a lot of PTSD issues, got mixed into the wrong crowd, and he's in the system. Another issue, I believe, is the burglaries in Gatesville. We get a lot of our burglaries. They're opportunists, go around to houses, pull on door handles. If it's open, great, grab what you can and go. But that's kind of been the top three, I feel, for the Coryell County area.
Right off the top, as it affects Coryell County, I would say mental health. Mental health it's a broken system. It's a system that, they just keep dissolving the forensic beds, but our need keeps growing exponentially. And what's left is that are in crisis, that are turning to narcotics, booze, whatever. They're committing petty crime, and guess what? Now they're landing on law enforcement. Okay, we're cops, not doctors, but the legislatures have legislated all the way onto us, and it is tough. I think we should really lobby our legislators about the mental health industry, and they need to stop cutting on it, because it's a bad thing. I would say in our county, like every other county in the United States, I know you heard it, it's kind of a cliche now, but the open border is a monster. The open border is killing our kids with this trash they bring up here by the name of fentanyl. We've actually had, one of my deputies had to be Narcan twice here a few months ago, because the crook lied to him And when he found it, it blowed in his face and almost killed him. If it hadn't been for a Gatesville police officer, it would have been bad. I'll tell you another thing that affects us here in the county, is folks not understanding the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. You know, there's more than just the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. How about the 10th Amendment? The 10th Amendment gives us our sovereignty. You gotta stop.
Thank you. All right, on to question number 6. As someone who would be responsible for a large portion of the county budget, please detail your experience in drafting budgets for law enforcement departments or in other settings.
So budget and law enforcement, I do not have that experience. As a patrol officer, bailiff, civil court processor, you're not tasked with that job. That is higher up in the ranks, with the chief deputy sheriff, in that area. The experience I do have with budgeting, I did run a 6-figure business for 2 years. I managed about 7 different vendors throughout that, and including my own. So it was constantly making sure, everything is crossed and dotted the way it's supposed to be, taking care of the payroll aspects out of that. So that's my experience with the budgeting.
I actually have a whole lot of experience with budgets. Matter of fact, I have been doing the budget for the Coryell County Sheriff's Office since 2017. My experience with the budget is working hand in hand with our staff, and it's not just chief deputy and the sheriff. I reach all the way down in the well and speak with my first line supervisors. They give me a list of needs and wants. It gets pushed up to the command staff. The commanders then put what they think that needs to be in there. And then they come present it to the chief deputy. And once the chief deputy puts it all together, then it lands on my desk for the cuts. It lands on my desk for the additions. We're very good. I mean, I've got a budget now just kind of north of $7 million between my jail and my patrol division. I never break it. We may go over a little bit in this line item, but we have a surplus in another line item to level that out. Before I became the sheriff, I was responsible for some very heavy hitting budgets, multiple hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets, salaries, travel, retirement plans. All of that was on my plate before I became the sheriff. So with that, I brought a whole lot of life experience to this. And since I've been here as the sheriff, it works itself out every year. And I'm very confident in our commissioners. They have worked hand in hand with us to make sure we pass an acceptable budget, make sure that we have the monies allocated to where we're not wasting our constituents' tax dollars. That's part of budgeting, is we have to get the most bang for the buck without stressing our rooftops so bad. Anyway, I'll yield the rest of my time.
Sheriff is right on the, wasting taxpayers' money. Been in charge of a budget with the Navy and Gatesville PD, and obviously Jonesboro being the chief. My budget under Nathan had to do with DARE, drunk busters, and then training. So somewhat minor budget. And then at Jonesboro, I have just 2 officers, me and a other. There's not such thing in the school business as a reserve. So it's marked as other. They can be paid full or partial. So I run those 2 budgets. In the Navy, we went out to Pearl Harbor in 2021, and we managed $84 million in 9 months. Right? So there is a reason to manage your money correctly, right? And in the military, you don't get to complain that you don't have enough money. You don't stand up and yell and say, they won't give me money. You get what you get, and you work within it. I want to finish up real quick with saying that every budget I've turned in and used has always been in the black. I've always turned money back in all categories. Thank you.
Question number 7. What is your overall view of the Sheriff's Department's budget needs, and how would you achieve your budget goals through state and federal funding sources?
Okay, I'm gonna kind of go at it from the back end of that question. You have to be very careful with grants. Grants mostly come with anchors tied on the other end that will drag you into a well with the federal government. Now, state grants are a little different. State grants usually don't have a lot of strings attached to them, and, you know, matter of fact, this year, we wound up, our county was awarded $500,000, or we're fixing to be awarded $500,000 under Senate Bill 22 because of our ruralness, to get our sheriff's office budget padded a little bit, our salaries up where they need to be. Now to address the front end of it, what I would do is, I'm gonna stand here and tout it every budget season and every chance somebody gives me a microphone. I need more jailers, I need more deputy sheriffs on the street, and I need more money. I would love for them to have a higher salary. We have between 72 and 80,000, I've heard several numbers, population here in the county. It's 1,100 square miles. We're doing that, providing security for the courthouse, providing criminal investigation division and our mental health with 34 sworn deputies. We do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if I had to ask what would we need at the sheriff's office, I would need more trained deputies, jailers, a couple more dispatchers, and a salary that would attract and hold them. Thank you.
Sheriff, you are correct. The federal grants come with big strings. Your state usually has some sort of guideline of why they're putting this grant in. It's not just promising money, there's a reason. Jonesboro received a grant this year for $868,000 for security and safety. $868,000 for population of about 300, maybe 330. So there's grants out there that come just like the comptroller's office. Most people don't know, but you can get training for every officer with basically the only requirement is you have to use that on training. Great. The leadership course, the string that comes with that is you have to be in leadership position when you sign up for that. Not only does Texas give it to you, they pay for your hotel and your food for 2 meals. So your taxpayer pays, your local taxpayer pays for transportation down there and for dinner. So there's plenty of ways to go out there and get money, but you have to be mindful, right? Because it shouldn't always fall. As far as asking for more money, well, first let's fill the positions we have. Before I ask for another jailer, let's hire the ones that are missing right now, right? Before we ask for more. Before we ask for more deputies, let's get fully staffed, right? And then move forward. And when we start comparing our budget on salaries, let's look at the total package of what we're provided. Health insurance and everything else, and let that compared to Hamilton, Bell County, and the workload that goes with that. There's more than money when it comes to a budget. There's the people and what you in the business you create for those people. The culture, once again, people work for less if they love coming to work. I used to come to work early just to come to work. Thank you.
There's not much more I can add to what both of these gentlemen have said. You know, if there's access to grants that are doable, you know, by all means, use those to maximize your budget to where it's needed.
Touching base on the salary part, those who are in law enforcement, we don't do it for that pay. We do it because that's our communities, those are our homes, and that's where we want to be. I can tell you right now, Bosque County, they do pay more. For dispatch alone, they pay what I was getting paid on patrol over here. So it's kind of a give or take. But with the budget, there is more officers that are needed on the streets, working that, nighttime. Definitely need to have more out there, so it's not response time for your backup, too far away. Mental health, there was a set department for that. They were their own deal. I believe that, has somewhat been dissolved, and it's kind of trickled down to patrol officers that are doubled up as mental health officers, so they still have mental health units. But it would be great to see that department expanded back to where it was. So tapping into the budget, is revamping some of those, departments to back where they need to be. Again, it's, the salary's great, we'd love to take the kids out when we're off. I'm not just living paycheck to paycheck.
Question number 8, do you think there needs to be change with regard to the Coryell County Jail? If so, please be specific with your answers.
Absolutely. Our jail is understaffed, and the building itself is too small. We just put a Band-Aid on a major medical issue, and we put a Band-Aid on it, an expensive Band-Aid. There's reason out there for this jail. I will tell you, the first time the jail bond came up, I voted yes for this jail, and over the last years, I voted no, because I thought there's not been enough transparency. We don't have enough beds, period. No question about that. But I also believe there could be some numbers that are not correct, and I want to know more about that. I think as the sheriff, you should know exactly who and what you have in there, and if they need to be out of that jail, they need to be gone. They don't need to be sitting there waiting with good papers. All right. I do think we need to build another jail and turn that one into a female holding facility. I think that would create more jobs. It would add to our budget. So it would almost, in law enforcement, you can't have you can't make money. That's totally against what law enforcement's about. It should be a break even or a negative cost, because that's just what it is. If we built a new jail, there's gonna be a massive tax on that jail, because it's gonna be expensive. But to keep the old jail and keep it going and keep employees there, keep jailers there, we house outside of county. We bring them in and let the other counties pay our bill to neutralize some of that cost. And that's some of the issues with the jail that I think need to be done.
With the Coryell County Jail, Buster did mention it is a Band-Aid, but it is a good expansion. It's a good start to help bring some of the inmates that we do pay to house outside of county back into our county, to cut costs on that. It's not a do-all, fix-all, because of the overcrowding issues. So it's one of those, when they first came out with it, I was like, unless we build for overcapacity, we're never gonna get ahead on that issue. But also, if you have the overcapacity, there's not a guarantee that you're gonna have another county fill those spots to pay for it. I know other counties are in bad shape as well, so they do need to utilize that, but it's still not a guarantee that those beds are gonna be filled each day.
Thank you. Our last question, do you believe, oh, did I miss? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take that as a compliment. You see me. All right, as far as the jail, this is something I'm very fluent on. And we did put all this out for the public, but we had a lot of other folks running around putting bad information out. We actually sat down with 2 commissioners our county auditor, county attorney, myself, my chief deputy, and a couple of citizens, and we had a committee, and we had this figured out. When we were gonna build the new jail this last time, it was gonna be about $1.3 million a year to pay our mortgage on I think it was 299 or 300 bed, I can't remember, so much has happened. Well, during the COVID months, we had upwards of 220 inmates. That we are now housing out of county. As of this morning, I have 82 inmates housed out of county and 82 in my 92 bed facility. Those 82 inmates are costing county taxpayers $100 a day per inmate. That's $8,200 a day. Well, we're gonna spend, I don't know, I can't remember the exact price. It was around $7 million for this expansion. And with that expansion, I can only use 40 of the beds. So we're gonna bring 40 inmates back out of that 82. We have a mortgage payment, plus we have a $4,200 a day debt deficit that we're throwing out the window. Well, I will tell you, the commissioners are working their tails off to make this happen, to put this little bit of a Band-Aid on this, just so we can have room for court transports. But the commissioners are also aware that this is not cost effective for county taxpayers, and we're gonna have to build a new facility. All right, she's giving me a hard stop.
All right, now we're on the last question. Do you believe the security of local schools and churches needs to be increased? If so, what would you do to address the issue?
Schools and churches, we've seen a lot in the news lately, and it's not in the news for good reasons. Right now, we do have 2 schools in Coryell County that do need law enforcement presence at. And I don't believe that has been filled. I know Gatesville ISD had a person picked out for the Oglesby School, and then they ended up backing out at the last minute. I don't know if they have filled that position yet or not. It was brought up not long ago, EVANT. They went through a guardianship program. So some of the teachers there do have a little bit of training on, the school shooter response stuff and training with that. But we shouldn't have to rely on our teachers to be carrying weapons into schools to protect those students. Alternatives for that, until that is fixed, is if the schools are able to tap into the grants to pay for security for an officer there, or do routine school checks throughout the entire day. But with the churches, I know some of the churches have gone to having select people in the congregation carry, and they coordinate with each other as to also where they're sitting at in those congregations, which has helped out and kind of given a lot of people ease of mind when going. But there is a need for increased law enforcement in our churches and schools.
Yeah, I think that's a topic that is burning in everybody's heart because, schools and churches are what they call a soft target. People show up, I wouldn't even call them people, monsters show up and take advantage of said soft targets. There is the guardianship program, there's the school marshals, there are, folks in the congregations that are carrying. Just because you go buy a firearm and you get 16 hours of training does not make you a solution to a killer. What I would like to see, and the legislature has tasked me for twice a year to hold a school safety and security meeting where I invite superintendents and their designees. Well, we need to do a lot of work because us as law enforcement are trained way differently to do way much differently than what is taught to these school guardians. The last thing we want to do is have a conflict between two people, two different entities trying to save a child or save the children. What I proposed at my last meeting is I would like to know who the guardians are in these schools. Let them come a couple of times a year, burn some bullets with us cops. We're not gonna teach our tactics as far as how we respond to an active shooter or what have you, but we will give them some familiarity with their sidearms, because most of them are gonna buy little pocket rockets, cause it's easy to hide, but I don't know about y'all, I don't know if you've ever tried to engage something with one of those little pocket rockets. So what we wanna do is invite all the schools in, and we want to, burn some bullets with them, spend all day with them, do this twice a year, break some bread, you know, that way we may not be familiar with their name, but we're familiar with their face when we come in hunting a bad guy. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Kind of feel like this question is catered towards me, to be honest with you. There was a need. There was a need for law enforcement in Jonesboro. We're on the county line, which nobody visits, very rarely, right? And rightfully so, because if you're in Jonesboro and you gotta go to Cove or Evant and Oglesby, that's a long way to go for a response if you only have 1 or 2 deputies on, for either county, by the way. So this one's near and dear to my heart. Almost 6 years ago, I left Gatesville to go establish this. I wasn't forced to create a committee. I've been working with DPS on training our staff, training our guardians, working with me. I did this because this is what needed to be done, not what I'm made to do. And as far as being tasked with the group, what the sheriff left out was the law enforcement agencies are also invited that need to be there, not just the sheriff's department and the superintendents, all law enforcement. Gary Stiles and myself have both established ISD PDs in Coryell County. We didn't do that alone. It took a team to do that. I will tell you, I'm gonna ask a question. Would you pay $140 a year per child to keep your children safe? That's what it costs Jonesboro ISD to hire me. It's not the same pay as Gatesville PD, it's not the same pay as Coryell County, but is your child worth $140 a year? As far as I got my hard stop coming up, I'm also the lead with DPS at my church, the head security for our church. That wasn't forced on me. I've taken that on and worked with DPS on that as well. Thank you.
All right, well, we've come to the conclusion of our questions. Now we have closing statements from each candidate. Each candidate has 3 minutes.
I want to thank y'all for coming out. I hope some of the questions y'all have been thinking about were answered. If y'all need clarification, please stick around. I'm sure myself and any of these 2 gentlemen here would be more than happy to go over those questions further in detail with you. Again, like I said in here, I don't know everything there is to know. Coryell County's not through. My vision of where I want them to go is back into the community. Right now, I feel like it's kind of been pushed more to a stat-driven, which leaves out some of the good aspects that it needs to be for that. But again, thank y'all each for coming out. We'll be sticking around if y'all have any questions.
I've had a good time tonight. I hope y'all have too, or this morning, sorry. I won't have this down hard when you work second shift for a long time. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to come out here and do this. At the end of the day, if you vote for me or you vote for Scott or you vote for Danny, that's your choice, and it's one of the greatest things about being American. But as we sit here and we come out with some of our issues we have as fellow law enforcement officers for the sheriff's department, I hope it's considered on making some of these changes, or we we reflect on what's being said today by all three candidates. Could what something that Danni said be changed in my mind, or Scott's mind? Could something Scott have said changed my mind or Danny's mind on certain topics? All right, I've been very open and honest with you. I even answered one of the hardest questions, very transparent, and a lot of people did. Everybody's like, you shouldn't tell people that, but I did. That's being transparent. I want to encourage you to look at facts, not feelings or opinions, but facts. Look at the way it's been done. Look at the way I've handled my business, the way Danny's held her business, and the current Sheriff Scott has done his business. I ask that you look into that, and if you find that this one candidate fits your needs the most, vote for that candidate. Thank you for having us today.
Just so everybody knows, it's called a sheriff's office. It's a constitutional office. It's not a department or part of any other department. It's called an office. I want to thank y'all first and foremost for coming here. You braved some cold weather. You've had to sit here and listen to us rattle on and on and on. I will tell you, were a lot of stuff that's been said today that's probably going to be hard for y'all to sit and absorb, but please, stew on it a little bit. You need to ask yourself if one of us up here is the candidate. Well, if you ask me, I'm the guy that's been doing it and very successful at it. There was alluded to that we're shorthanded, this, that, and the other. I think I'm one, maybe two positions short on patrol. And I think I'm 4 short maybe in the jail. It's been that way since I worked in the jail in 2010. It's nothing that I've done. It's called attrition. It's stuff that happens. People move along. They get out of the business. They go find more money. And I will not apologize for discipline. I will never apologize for discipline, because without discipline, you have chaos. I will stand firm on every decision I ever made. Earlier, one of the candidates alluded to the fact of a double standard. No, we are cops. We do not go off of public opinion. We go off of where the evidence leads you. That individual did not work while under indictment. They were put on administrative leave, and I caught more hell, for lack of better terms, for keeping that person on the employment rolls. But you know what? I saw the evidence. I saw that the allegation was wrong. I stood by them. Come to find out, it went away. I'm also the guy that believes in right and wrong, to the point that I arrested my chief deputy, my very first chief deputy, for felonious activity under the color of law. Well, I'm also that guy that, this is hard for me to even say, but I'm that guy that actually put his own son in his jail because he committed a crime. If that's the good old boy system, you know what? Somebody needs to read the definition, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to do what's right every time. And if it offends you because I fired your buddy, or if it offends you because I defend myself vigorously and my staff vigorously, then so be it. Don't vote for me. But I'm going to tell you, this is the guy you're going to get, the guy that's going to lead from out front. I will not send my men and women into harm's way and not be there with them. Thank you, and vote Scott Williams.
Thank you. This concludes our forum, and I would like to thank all the candidates, and especially our attendees, and our candidates today. At this time, I'll turn the meeting back over to Gayla.